you speak the island. So, you know, Jamaica is a place that, as a Caribbean country, very rich in very rich in culture,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And we all coming from, from the motherland, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
obviously, you know, verbal history by word of mouth, and passing down heritage
Mm.
is something that was done this way. You know, I
Yes.
mean,
Yes.
books books work as well. Literature works, but as you know, a lot of our literature was destroyed and
Yes.
distorted. And so, and I'm talking about all the way back to the motherland,
Yes,
right?
sir. Of course.
So
Yeah.
it's difficult to really work your way around the literature, even in following up with certain writers, and the people who digging for artifacts, and people in on that on that side of the fence of academia, right?
Right.
Like they have answers for everything, but who's really to tell how accurate that is, right? I mean,
Right. Right.
you should be able to do your own introspective investigation, you know what I mean? But it's so difficult to go back and try to do that, right?
Yes.
So I think it is important to rely on what I grandma, great grandma, grandpa, great grandpa have to, what they had to, what they passed down to you. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I was paying attention when she was talking. My whole family, we paid attention to that.
What
I'm
she was
not
saying.
sure.
What was her biggest, like, what was her message to you?
Yeah, so I mean, come on, man. Like grandma. So we're from the tribe of Benjamin, right?
Mm.
Um, uh, you know, more than anything, the backdrop behind Jamaica, and then of course my father. He was also, a historian with the culture as well, right? And my old man, you know, I mean, there's so many things that they passed down to us regarding um, where we came from, you know, uh, what we had when we came from where we came from, um, what we needed to move forward, and uh, certain cornerstones that you needed to have in
Right.
order
Right.
to to make something of yourself in this world. And also morality, your moral compass was almost first and foremost in our
Right.
household, right? And our our family tree. um Now my great grandfather on my father's side is 100% Irish. He was an Irishman.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
Wow.
Max Williams was his
Okay.
name. Max owned property down there in Jamaica because they were trying to get away from the crown at the time when they left, and so I guess it was like a big deal for the Irish, uh, group, that the Irish pilgrims that escaped the crown to end up in a Caribbean island, right? Like that, like basically that would have been synonymous to like what was going on in World War II. Like for you to be able to migrate and get through all of that, you know, just the escape or how it happened. I mean, that would have had to been something that's probably just like a movie itself,
Yes,
right?
sir.
In and of itself.
Yes, sir.
So Max, had like a plantation and all that, think it was 140 acres or 170, and something of that nature. And he had a lot of melanated folks working on his plantation. And so, I'm saying, of course, he had his pick of the litter with the women, the females that were in his plantation, and however that worked. And my grandfather was a product of that, and my father, what I'm saying. And then of course, you know what I mean, like me, you understand what I mean, like. And then my grandmother, on my mother's side, that's the one that I showed you the pictures of. You know,
Right.
Sislin's from a whole nother. She's from a whole nother like cornerstone. Uh,
Right.
and so those coming together, I would imagine that that's where, you know, all of the intellect comes from, but as well the proclivity to survive, you know, the proclivity to thrive.
Mm.
Um, so, you know, because you know the Irish, I mean, what do? They fight.
They
You know what
fight.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Moors, because my grandmother's an official. She's a Moor. You understand
Wow.
what I'm trying to say? Like she's from Westmoreland in Jamaica.